Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today for this little build steps how-to tutorial. So already in this series, we've created the shell of this house using an inspiration, and we have also roofed this house. So in this episode, we are going to be landscaping this house. So I'm going to take you through just some basic landscaping tips and ideas, and we're going to do a bit of terrain modification as well. So first up, I'm going to talk about a little landscaping tip that I learned a little while ago and has really helped me out with landscaping, particularly when I want to do landscaping close to the house. Make sure that you are doing this before you add your foundation to the house. It does make it a lot easier to landscape when you do this. Do it in this order. So I am just going to add like a few ferns, and you can see there I can place those straight by the house, no problem. When I, however, have a foundation up, so we've got our little foundation there, and then I add in my ferns, you'll see there that if I'm going close to the house, my plants kind of jump up, which is a little annoying, so I can't quite place them in the area that I want to. So that's why I like to place a lot of my close-up plants before I add my foundation to the house. So that's just a little tip if you are doing a bit of close-up work around your house with your plants. Do it before you put the foundation up, and it does make it a little easier. We're not, however, doing that today because we're going to do a bit of terrain manipulation. So I need the foundation up for this one. So to lift the house up, we're going to use the foundation tool, which is this one here, this big tool to a arrow, and I'm just going to hold that down and lift it up times 5 just to get the height that I want. And that's our foundation settled for our house. Before we start doing any terrain manipulation, I want to get my stairs into place just in case, and I also want to have a pathway going to my house. The reason that I want to have that pathway in place is that by settling the pathway there, I actually keep that, it doesn't matter what I put at this point, it actually keeps this area flat, so I know that this is all going to be accessible. Sometimes when you're doing terrain manipulation, what happens is that you'll be shifting things around, and then you'll shift the height of this stuff here as well, and then you can't get pathways to your house because it all gets out of whack and not the right height, and bits and pieces like that. So it's actually easier in the long run to get this stuff down first, so that you're just basically holding the space for it, and then you sort of work around it from there. So you need to go into your terrain tools down here, and what we're going to be doing is the terrain manipulation. So this is the third option down, the shovel, and one of my very favorite ones to use, and the one that I use all the time, is flatten to height. So this tool will flatten terrain to a specific height, adjust the height with the height slider in the UI, or hold Control and the square bracket keys. So the square bracket keys will change the size of your brush, and holding Shift and scrolling the mouse wheel will give you more granular size control. So when you actually select this, it'll actually tell you what the keys are that you need. So very handy. And you want to set it to the height that you want, which is basically just above the foundation. So Control and the square bracket right key, and there we go. We can see it just sitting above the foundation. So let's get it up in place, and look at that. We have covered our foundation just like I wanted to. That's fantastic, because what we want to have happening is I kind of want to have like a flowing path coming down this way. That's kind of accessible by the Sims, and then a partial kind of height here, just to add like a little bit of height to our build, and a little bit of shape to the terrain as well. So we're going to do that a little bit in the backyard as well. So the tricky thing with that is actually getting it smooth so it's accessible by your sim, and that's just basically a bit of trial and error. Unfortunately, I haven't got any easy way to make that any better, but I'm just going to go into the smooth terrain tool here and just lightly push it, and we're going to adjust the speed so it goes a little slower, and there we go. So we should have a pretty smooth slope going down, and just like that, we've manipulated our terrain, so we've kind of got like a little higher area here and a lower area here, so we can see our foundation coming through on this side. And then we're just going to use this base game foundation for the bottom of the house. It isn't really a great foundation for any for this style of house, so we're just going to use that one there. And you can see there we've kind of got ourselves a little foundation on one side, and we've got a slope coming down on the other. So what do we do now? Well, let's go into terrain tools again, and we're going to the paint tool section. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to paint the areas that I want to landscape. So I want to have a bit of landscaping coming around. Let's make that a little darker. So I'm going to have a little bit of landscaping coming around here. We're going to have a path coming around here. So we'll have to test that out, make sure our sim can do that. I have a feeling we've got a little bit too steep a slope here, so we might have to smooth that out a smidge. Let's reduce our brush size. And there we go. That looks like it's pretty good. So smoothing that down, we're going to have another little bit of terrain there, and we'll have like a little bit of garden there. I think we'll have a little patch of garden here as well in the corner. And maybe a little something around here too. Around the back, let's do a little bit of garden up here, around the corner. Yeah, all the way around the corner, and a little bit up here as well. And I think maybe we can have another little path going down here off to the side, and we can do a little bit of a fence going around there. So the next thing that you need to think about with landscaping is what style you are going for. So have a look around the world if you want to try and match it, and see what kind of landscaping options they have used. So they've used rocks, and they've used a sparing sort of amount of, or clumps of plants together, and we've got things like your cactuses and your spiky plants and, you know, that sort of thing there. So we're going to try and reflect that in our build today. But you might have things like, say you're going for a cottage look, so you might have overgrown flowers and plants everywhere, lots of different colors, lots of wildflowers, you know, your English garden kind of effect. You might have a modern garden, which is more just sort of like your dirt and sort of like your grasses and your maybe spiky plants and that sort of thing. And that's a little bit more contained and manipulated. So, you know, it's maybe has like a little bit of low fencing around it, something like that. Or you could have something where it's just kind of like your cute kind of bunch landscaping, more like you have in Willow Creek, where you just like maybe have some groups of flowers, pretty trees, bits and pieces like that, which is more of a traditional style. So yeah, you might just think about what style of landscaping would suit your house. And in this case, we are going with the style that is in the rest of the world, which is your deserty style landscaping, which is rocks and succulents and things like that. Now, base game actually has the best amount of landscaping stuff. The rest is in debug. If you want to access the best landscaping stuff, you want to use your debug and your live edit cheats. So you want to go into testing cheats true, and then use your two debug items. So you have bb.show hidden objects and bb.show live edit objects. So those are your two cheats, and that will open up the whole of the live edit menu for you with plants and give you a whole lot more of a selection, which I definitely recommend you do if you can, or if you want to. The other option is if you have Better Build By like I do, you can just go into content and select debug and live edit, and you'll see here like instantly you get a whole lot more plants to choose from, which is awesome. It's a lot more when you don't just have base game selected. So heaps and 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 heaps of plants there to choose from. Okay, so what we're going to do is get our pathways in place. So we're going to select a paver. I'm going to go with the Desert River Rock, and we're going to run that down. I'm going to actually put a doorway in there so we can have like a second doorway coming down, and that's just going to come down here. I'm going to adjust the softness. This is a big thing, is just adjusting your softness to what you need, and that sort of creates a bit more of a cohesive and blended look if you can have the softer edges going through. And the reason I put the brown down first before I add the paving is it just again gives a blended sort of more natural look to it. So it's sort of dirt on the edge of the path, and it's just an easier way to do that if you put the dirt down first. And we want a second path that's going to run along here and down here as well, so same sort of thing, and along here. So maybe they want to sit up there and enjoy a nice quiet evening looking out over the desert. I want to have an area where we're going to have our mailbox. So let's maybe add our mailbox in here. Nice little curve. And we'll go back to our desert rock pavers. And just like that there. And then that's going to blend into our little garden section there. So we've done our paving. Simple as that. So remember, adjust that softness to get a softer look and just be really subtle about it. I like to use like the lowest softness when I'm dotting around the bottom of trees, because then it's just like a nice little addition of dirt without like being over the top dark, you know. Okay, let's add some plants. I'm going to start with our agave plant. Dot a few of those around the place, and I want to add actually some rocks in as well, so that's something I'm going to do next. And I need something that's going to sit up here as well, so we're going to have to think about what we want to put up there. And you know what, I also think I would probably like to put something in the corner here, so I might do that and add in our fencing. So fencing, I'm just going to do like a little corner fence like this, because it's going to be hard to put the fencing along here because we've got the terrain sort of manipulated around that side. So let's run this along here like this, and we're going to go on here. Now, for fencing, if you're adding fencing and you have, you've got a foundation, what you need to do from there is just connect from this side. So if you're dragging this along, just connect this way and you can connect easily to the house. Okay, so we've got our little fence in place. What I want to do is I want to add like a little bit more to this corner. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of a brown area here, around here, and then I want to do a little bit around this side as well. We might erase that, but we'll come back to that. And I want to do a little bit around here too, just around this corner. We might add some trees and stuff around here. So there we go, and that leaves us a little bit of space around here just to maybe add a different, like a barbecue area or something. So let's add a few more of our agaves around this corner. Actually, you know what, I might reduce this a little bit, so I'll show you guys how to erase this, because I think that's a little bit too big. We don't need that much going on there, do we? So if you go back into terrain tools, and you'll see your eraser tool there, again, you can actually change the softness and the hardness of that. So if you want to just like have a flat out erase, then just use it as hard as you can get it. But if you want to go a little bit softer and just kind of fix an area or blend an area, you can actually use this the softer setting, and you can actually use that as a bit of a blender if you want to go in that direction. And I'm going to do the same over here and just blend this a little bit more. Blend, 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 blend. Isn't that a bit nicer? We can blend it as well. Just allows you a little bit more control over your terrain manipulation and how that kind of looks in the end. If you want to blend it more, if you want to soften it up a little bit, not look at it so dark, then you can just use your eraser rather than undo everything you've done. I'm going to go through and let's just do a palm tree around the place. So let's use our desert fan palm, and you can change the size of your plants by using these square bracket sizing up and down keys. So if you think that's a little too big or a little too small, then you can do that. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do base game one. So in the live edit in Love Struck, there's this gorgeous palm here, and I'm going to use that because I like that palm, and that's what I want to use today. And we're going to put another palm in here, and I think I'm going to shrink it down and put like a slightly smaller one over to the side here, and just check that it's not going to be going through the house. I think we're good. You know, that's really, just landscaping is everything, I think, when you're really finishing off the look of a house. It just, you know, it already looks 10 times better, at least plain, way more interesting, you know. That's why I'm such a big fan of landscaping. So we're going to add some rocks. So in here we've got some options for rocks, not very many, but we do have these from Horse Ranch. You could also use some base game ones if you don't have access to Horse Ranch. And I'm going to shrink them down just so they're less insanely large, and just spin them around. Now you'll see here, I can't put these Horse Ranch ones over in this area. They're floating because of the whole foundation thing. The thing with this is that if you go into these rocks here, same sort of color, you can actually get a lot closer to the foundation using these base game rocks. And I don't know why that is, but it is just the way of the world. So just keep in mind, if you do need to do stuff closer to a foundation or to stack up, say you are on a slope here, when you go to put these rocks on the slope, you can see again they're floating. You can't actually stack these up. There's no way to do that. If you are using the base game ones, you can actually stack these up. So we could have we could create a nice rock wall, just stacking rocks up like this. And just to make it look different, you spin the rocks around, or you used there's 4 different kinds of base game rocks, and you can use the different rocks for that. So you kind of have like a little rock thing going up the side. So it's actually quite a good way of decorating a slope, is by using these rocks from base game. So as far as I know, these are kind of the only rocks that do it. I haven't tested out all of the debug rocks, but a lot of the time you get that same floating problem with the debug rocks as well. So just keep that in mind. These base game rocks are actually really, really good for landscaping, for doing simple things like stacking up. So now we've created a little wall of rocks there, which I think is pretty cool, just by stacking them up and using the simple base game ones. It's all you need. They're really good for just doing all sorts of things around the place, but they can be the most, I feel like they can be the most manipulated rocks in the game. So just adding a few more succulents around the place, and we might want to add some more rocks. I don't know, we'll see. Might have to add some around the back, I think. And then maybe a few more succulents around the side here and around the side here. And then we're going to add like our cactuses. So a few around the different areas. And I did say that I wanted to add some more rocks around the back. So let's go back to our horse ranch and shrink those down. Add a few rocks in here. So you just want to try and get the rocks situated in a way that just kind of feels or looks natural to you. That's probably the main aim with that there. And then just go through and add your different plants as you do. If you kind of get the vibe and you just kind of stack the plants up as you need to. Try not to go overboard like I often do. I do have a bad habit of doing that, so I try to keep it simple, but then it's just like you keep going and you're going, and then all of a sudden you've got a whole lot of landscaping on your hands. You know what I want to put in here? I want to put in like a nice big cactus like there, and that one there like that. You know, I mean, I think I'm keeping it fairly simple without going crazy. And it is quite good to try and keep it to the same types of flowers, or plants, sorry. And if you can keep it to maybe 1 or 2 colors that really match your build, that can really make a difference with your landscaping as well. I feel like we need to landscape down here a little bit, so let's add in a bit of color. So a bit of, there we go, terrain paint, and maybe we can chase the side of this path all the way through here. So let's add in some rocks. Okay, so we've got the problem where those are floating, so we'll maybe add in some rocks over this side. Okay, stacking the rocks up there. And what actually looks quite good is if you can get some plants in between the rocks as well. That can make it look like a little bit more natural, like, you know, it's gotten a little bit overgrown or whatever. And I do try to get it so it doesn't look like the rocks are floating. So we've got another sort of little rock area up here, but what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to put some grasses in here just to try and make it look a little bit natural. So we've got green grass, which is a base game grass, and we're just going to add like a little bit of grass in through here, just so it looks like it's a little bit overgrown through there. And then we can add in a few of our plants around the area, our little succulents that we've been working on. So a little spiky one here, maybe another little spiky one sitting at the top of the rocks. Sort of get the vibe going on here, and we'll just add a few more, few more here. Okay, so we've kind of got like a little path running down here. We've got the area here, and we've got a little path there that we're going to add our mailbox to. We might just do like a little traditional one, like a little mailbox like that. Mailbox off to the side, and we've got like our terrain hill running down there. We'll have to test that out with a sim, make sure that works okay. And we've got a little area around here. Let's add in our banisters. So I might change that color of that stairs, which is fine. Okay, there we go. I love the pattern on those stairs. I think it's very cool and perfect for this house. And then we're going to use just the base game banisters, which is the mega railing. And we need a nice, something deserty. What about puzzled stone? Let's use that. That's from a kit, but you can use whatever you like, obviously. And I'm going to use a little bit more, and we're going to just create a backyard area. So backyard areas, things that I like to use is obviously your barbecue stuff, your pools, sort of outdoor activities for kids, that sort of thing. If you want to change the paving, hit Control F, and that will change it to a quarter paving. If you want to change something to being on an angle, just like that. So we can maybe bring that forward so that sits on the edge of the path. It's actually a good way to manipulate the shape of the path, is by bringing things forward like that. So it kind of sits on the edge and it just looks like it's a little bit more natural. And I'm just going to fill in brown around there. So we've got a little bit more brown happening. And I might just add little cactus in here, and another one of those. A cute little area there, and again I think we can probably do our control F. So we're sitting on a little, and we'll delete that, control F, and we've got our quarter tile running through there. Control F to put it back to a full tile, and I want to actually run our path so it comes and connects through here. So let's just get our brown back on, connect up through here, and get our desert paver and nice and soft through there. Okay, so I think we need a few more plants just in this little section here, so we're going to do that now. So little spiky plant in through here, and yes, I do need to add some brown. You're absolutely right about that. So I'm going to add that in there now, and I'm probably doing too much, but hey, that's me. It's just the way I go. You guys just moderate it how you like and do it the way that you want. But that just sort of gives you some of the techniques that you can kind of use to do that sort of thing. And then you can just finish it off with a bit of a barbecue. I'm just going to use the Desert Luxe set here because the Desert Luxe set is gorgeous, and it's obviously absolutely perfect in this instance for our build because we're in a deserty kind of environment. So let's go with maybe a nice bar, cute little bar off to the side, off there. Got a nice chair, end table. Then I probably need a table and chairs. Let's get out of that one. So what about this from the patio stuff pack? Nice deserty color, and we'll get a matching chair. Same colors, very deserty colors. That's what we're going for. Very calming, very neutral. And add in bits and pieces of clutter. So I know with the patio stuff pack there is perfect patio stuff pack. There's the barbecue stuff, and there's like the barbecue racquetons, barbecue utensils as well. So move the item out of the way, hold down Alt, make sure you've got your move objects on, of course. All of my building you will require that on, and then you can slide that into place, add your clutter. And in here maybe we can add like a little pool. Let's add that in. So we'll go into our pools and foundations, and maybe we can add like a little curve to the end of our pool, just like that, and then move it along like so. Just a little simple lap pool. Oh, looks so pretty, doesn't it? A bit of pool trim. I love this pool trim that comes with the Riviera Retreat kit. You do have to watch that it does actually scoot over the other side, but yeah, such is life. Now I'm going to delete that from there, and you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go back into terrain manipulation and just go whoop, 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 and go bloop, 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 and I'm going to spread this out and color it in a little bit more. There we go. I feel like it needs something else. You know what it needs? It needs rocks. Just it's not quite sitting right? So if in doubt, do something a little different. Get that out of the way and add our rocks. Spread it out a bit. There we are. Less is more. And maybe a little bit of the grass around here as well. Natural vibes and all that. Another thing I like to do is like have the little daisies as like kind of, you know, you kind of like a little bit of life to the little sections of the build. Little daisies popping up, you know, like it's kind of like popped up through the grass, kind of weedsy kind of thing, but I'm not going to go overboard on that though. I'm just going to keep it simple. So we have little touches like that, and that brings it all together, which means we need our pool items. So we're just going to throw in our pool ladder, and the easiest way to do pool lighting is to actually go down to the basement level and pop the lighting in that way rather than go and try to do it from the top. It's actually much easier to do that from the bottom. So there's a little tip for you there as well. When adding lighting to pools, go down below. And I'm just going to paint the pool. Now you can paint the pool just like any other wall in the game. So if you want to have a nice green pool, for example, or a white pool, then you can just change the colors of the flooring and the walls as you like. So there we go, we've done that. And we can also change the color of the water. I like to use this one from Jungle Adventure. It's called brackish water, but it's got a really nice dark green to it, which I really like. Maybe it's just me, but I use that all the time because I really like it. And then I just want to add like a little stool up here, or a little chair up here, because we've created this little seating area, so why not actually do something with it? Let's get into our Desert Luxe kit again and maybe add in our couches. So bring that in, and table there in the middle. We can put like a nice candle on there. I think I'll do that in a nice teal. There we go. So we've got a nice little seating area there, and just like that we've got a bit of landscaping done. Now you can probably fiddle around with that for ages. We can add like a little bit more of terrain paint around our rocks, and in things like your kids bits and pieces, so you can add in like your monkey bars and things, so you can go into your outdoor activities. Maybe you want to add in your gardening stuff. Maybe that's something that you want to have in the build. So just add all of the accessories, maybe a swing like in the front, you know, maybe you want to have a swing in there, cute little swing set. There's not much room for anything else, but you know, you can pop whatever you like in there. In this outdoor section, definitely go through that and just get to know that area and what sort of items you find usable, particularly for if you've got a family or anything like that. There's some really cool items that you can use. And that is our build. I think it's looking much better with the landscaping. We've manipulated the terrain, we've added in some trees, we've talked about debug, and we've talked about outdoor activities, a few tips on the pool and using rocks. So I hope you guys have found that useful, fun with manipulating your terrain. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!